Haley Stasiak and Jordan Ham here at Chase Field. The Diamondbacks have been officially eliminated from postseason contention. Rockies sweep here at Chase Field in their final meeting of 2018. Jordan, at the beginning of this season, the Diamondbacks had at one point 9 consecutive series wins. They led the NL West for 125 days, including 55 consecutive early. How did we get here? I mean, it was a rough May. They bounced back in June and July, had a solid August. We're in the thick of it in August. 5-16 here in the month of September. How did we get here?
I think with the baseball season just being so long, that's going to exploit when you're not playing your best. And I never felt like, or there were very few times throughout the year that I felt like the Diamondbacks where everything was clicking. You had the starting pitching, you had really good defense, the offense was really getting going, and the bullpen was there. It seemed like kind of throughout the year, 2 or 3 of them were working, but there always seemed to be where they'd lose a game here and there because there was a downfall in one of them. Probably for the most part, the bats. It was the bats that kind of struggled the most throughout the year. So I think that was a big part of it. But when you look at this year's opening day roster and kind of the roster throughout versus the beginning of last year, it's not that different. I think the difference was were able to bring in J.D. Martinez. He was able to bring a spark last year and make that playoff push. So I think ultimately the thing that's going to jump out to me at first is going to be the bats and their struggles, especially the last 6 weeks, and how they really struggled to score runs.
Speaking to Zach Godley and Paul Goldschmidt here post-game, kind of the general thing between the two of them, what they both mentioned was that they slumped in the absolute worst time. Obviously coming into September with the postseason race so thick, especially here in the NL West, and really the National League in general, they slumped at the wrong time. They were close to being under 500 now. There's still 6 games left, but you look at this season overall now, is this team just a 500 win team, or is this team should have been an exceedingly over 500 team?
I think that it's closer to the latter. You know, I think they certainly had those moments of 500 baseball. Look, in April and in June, they played really well. Other than that, they were pretty much 500, but they had to overcome a lot of different injuries. A.J. Pollock missed a lot of time. Taijuan Walker from the get-go was out. The bullpen had some injuries. They did a nice job overcoming that. I think Mike Hazen did a nice job bringing in some guys to help provide depth. But again, when you have a really good Los Angeles team and a really good Colorado team, you're going to be exploited at times. And I feel like they were, and they didn't take advantage of those certain road trips where they were going up against 3 last place teams. They didn't take advantage. And then we talked so many times on the podcast, so many times throughout the year, what the last 6 weeks was going to be like schedule-wise against predominantly all playoff teams. And you see now they're struggling.
Manager Torey Lovullo pinpointed that Dodgers series coming into September as kind of what he thought was the falling apart point of this latter part of the season. Players just said they couldn't really specifically pinpoint, but in your opinion, was it that Dodgers series? What was it exactly that when this team fell apart?
I think it was that Dodgers series because it was Matt Kemp back-to-back days. He had the go-ahead home run and then the walk-off double that essentially took the series sweep, and then series win away from the Diamondbacks, and it's because it came off of Archie Bradley. For over a season and a half, Archie Bradley was that stopper. When the big bats were coming in on the opposition, Archie Bradley was the one that came in and for the most part got them out and shut them down. But just to go back-to-back days with him giving up those big hits, that was just a gut punch and I think really deflating to this Diamondbacks team.
I would agree with you, and it was back to what you said, those series where it was last place teams. We talked about how they needed to capitalize and they just didn't. And you said earlier too, things didn't click all encompassing at any of the same times. Next up, the Diamondbacks have the Dodgers. They'll host them here for 3 games to close out 2018. Then they'll go to San Diego to finish out the regular season. Next too, we'll be watching these free agents now here in the offseason. That's going to be the big thing. Some big names, Patrick Corbin, A.J. Pollock, Daniel Descalso, and many others, 11 total free agents. So keep it here on sports360az.com for more Diamondbacks news.